As the sun set over San Diego, long shadows stretched across the living room floor of my apartment in La Jolla's upscale neighborhood. My 6-year-old son Aiden snuggled close to my lap, holding his homework worksheet. His soft black hair gleamed in the orange sunlight. "Mom, this problem is hard," Aiden's voice made me look up from my accounting ledger. Being a single mother, balancing work and childcare is never easy. But I fight every day to protect this precious life. My job at the accounting firm in Century Plaza in downtown San Diego doesn't provide lavish income, but it's enough to support our peaceful life with my son. 6 years ago, after losing my parents in a car accident, I also became responsible for my sister Caroline's living expenses. I was 23 then, and Caroline was still a student. I can remember those days like yesterday, working desperately as an accountant to manage her college tuition. Those days of working part-time at Phil's Barbecue while handling accounting work late into the night. Even after having Aiden, I increased my online work to somehow manage both. Caroline always seemed to look at my efforts with something like contempt. "Don't worry. Mom will help you," I gently stroked Aiden's head as I looked at the math problem. La Jolla Elementary School's educational standards are high, and Aiden sometimes struggles. But I felt proud of his genuine effort. Our peaceful evening was suddenly interrupted by a phone ring. "Jennifer. I have wonderful news." Caroline's excited voice echoed through the phone. After graduation, my sister blossomed as a trader at an investment bank in Wells Fargo Plaza, growing into a talented trader earning over $1 million annually. Michael proposed. He's an executive at an IT startup. He lives in a world you couldn't even imagine. Caroline's voice carried its usual arrogance. She had changed rapidly after finding success. She bought a luxury condo in La Jolla, drove the latest Tesla model. On weekends, she enjoyed elegant brunches at George's at the Cove, uploading it all to social media. And she began looking at our modest lifestyle with obvious disdain. "The wedding will be $1 million scale. We'll have the finest hospitality at the lodge at Torrey Pines. Media will be there. Of course, I want you to come too. I want to show you my success." On the other end of the receiver, Caroline laughed meaningfully. In her voice, I sensed something ominous. Behind her glamorous success, I couldn't shake the feeling that my sister was losing something. 7 a.m. arrivals, trading until late night, fierce competition between teams. That lifestyle seemed to be slowly consuming her. Aiden looked up at me with worried eyes. Perhaps he instinctively sensed the danger on the other end of this call. I pulled him close to my shoulder, holding him protectively. "Congratulations," I replied briefly, as a vague anxiety spread through my chest. 2 months before the wedding, a meeting was being held in a luxurious suite at the lodge at Torrey Pines. Caroline was deep in conversation with a high-end wedding planner invited from Beverly Hills. I sat quietly in the corner of the room with my son Aiden. The room's furnishings were all top class, and the $5,000 per night room's luxury seemed to symbolize my sister's transformation. Jeff Letham's flower arrangements are essential. And I've already decided on the Vera Wang dress. custom made for $1 million. The catering is already arranged with a 3 Michelin star chef. Caroline's voice contained an abnormal excitement. Continuing to make huge profits trading on Bloomberg terminals, she seemed to be positioning this wedding as proof of her success. Arriving at 7 a.m. every morning, working until late night. That exhaustion was visible in the depths of her eyes. NBC, CBS, and Fox have confirmed coverage. My wedding will be the celebration of the century. All of La Jolla's social circle will be there. It's a world you can't even imagine as an ordinary accountant. She kept adding more expensive options to the wedding planner's decoration proposals. Pure white orchids filling the Pacific View ballroom, champagne towers, and even fireworks outside. Everything was an astronomical amount. Outside the window, Pacific waves quietly lapped the shore. Aidan tightly gripped his mother's hand. My sister's behavior must seem unnatural to him too. How about this? Installing a fountain in the lobby with swans swimming in it. Isn't that lovely? Caroline's voice suddenly cracked. As staff showed confused expressions, she continued piling on unrealistic demands. Her fiancé Michael tried to gently stop her, but she wouldn't listen. Hey, Aidan. You have an important role too. Suddenly, Caroline stared at her nephew. Her eyes held an obsession I'd never seen before. Her hands were shaking, clearly not normal. During the ceremony, you'll perform something special. We'll show the media our family bonds. Then no one will call your mother a pitiful single parent anymore. Aidan fearfully hid behind me. For this shy boy, performing in front of 300 people would be nothing short of a nightmare. Caroline, Aidan is only 6. Performing in front of so many people. You always get in my way. My sister suddenly screamed like a madwoman. At her voice, the wedding planner accidentally dropped their documents. The luxury suite's silence was eerily broken. Aidan will become a coward like you. I'll guide him properly. I'll make him successful like me. He'll work with me on Wall Street. Caroline's hands were shaking violently. Her eyes were unnaturally wide, and large drops of sweat dotted her forehead. Her emaciated body was visible through her luxury brand suit. Her fiancé Michael was watching her condition with concern. I have investment talent. Last week, I made $50 million in profits. But it's not enough. I need more. Her words were becoming incoherent. The dark circles under her eyes were heavy, her lips bloodless. Still, the wedding meeting continued. Sis, this ceremony must be perfect. I won't let anyone interfere. Not even you. No one will ruin the best day of my life. At those words, I felt my spine freeze. Something was definitely breaking inside my sister. The grueling work at the investment bank, pressure from the wedding, and vanity and pride. Everything seemed to be cornering her. But I had no way to stop it. Michael stood frozen with a confused expression. He too seemed to notice his fiancée's changes but didn't know how to handle them. On the morning of the wedding day, an unusual tension hung in the air as luxury hotel staff hurried back and forth. I was fixing Aiden's bow tie in the powder room. My son wore a new white tuxedo for today. Though he looked angelic, his eyes were filled with anxiety. Usually bright and active at La Jolla Elementary School, he had been down all morning. "Mom, Auntie is acting strange." Aiden's small voice squeezed my heart. From the preparation room, Caroline's shouts could be heard. Her voice was so distorted it barely seemed human. "Why isn't the media here yet? This rain is ruining the best day of my life." Fox and CBS haven't arrived either. In the bridal suite, Caroline, dressed in her $1 million Vera Wang wedding gown, was berating the hair and makeup staff. Her hands were shaking violently, her face pale. Dark circles showed heavily under her eyes, impossible to hide with makeup. The scent of luxury brand perfume hung unnaturally strong in the air. "More powder. Hide these circles. And bring champagne. Dom Perignon 2008. I won't drink anything else." Linda Stanford, Michael's mother, watched the situation with a confused expression. As a pillar of San Diego society, she seemed concerned about appearances to La Jolla's elite. Everyone present clearly showed discomfort at this abnormal atmosphere. "The dress is dirty. Who touched it? Who ruined my dress?" Caroline suddenly started screaming hysterically in front of the mirror. However, there wasn't a single stain on the dress. Her delusions had already lost touch with reality. "Caroline, why don't you calm down? You've had enough champagne." Michael spoke quietly, but Caroline wouldn't listen. Her eyes were bloodshot, her thoughts clearly confused. Cold sweat poured down like a waterfall from beneath her luxury brand makeup. "Don't interfere. Everything must go according to plan. As Wells Fargo's chief trader, I can't allow such a blunder." Even after the ceremony began, the situation didn't improve. In the Pacific View Ballroom, there were problems with the sound system. Jeff Letham's pure white orchid decorations partially collapsed due to the rain. Orchids costing $400 each scattered on the floor like tears. As 300 guests began taking their seats, the chaos deepened. Luxury restaurant owners, investment bank executives, notable IT industry figures who had rushed from Silicon Valley. The social elite watched the venue's abnormal situation with confused expressions. No one had touched the luxurious course meal prepared by the Michelin 3-star chef. "The photos are late. Where's the cake? Why won't anything go as I say? I spent over $5 million on this party." Caroline's screams echoed through the venue. Her eyes were unfocused, her whole body trembling minutely. The hem of her dress swayed as if crawling across the floor. Her makeup had smeared, making her look like a clown. And then the fateful moment arrived. Above the venue, the custom crystal chandelier cast an eerie light. Caroline suddenly started walking toward Aiden, who was standing in the center of the ceremony space. Her walk was unnatural, like a puppet. She took something out of her dress pocket. My spine froze. It was the limited edition Cartier lighter that Caroline always carried. Everyone, pay attention. This is today's special show. My wedding will be one everyone remembers. Caroline's laughter echoed eerily through the venue. Her eyes had already lost the light of reason. And in the next instant, she brought the lighter close to Aidan's soft black hair. Before my scream could ring out, blue flames caught my son's hair. The smell of burnt hair spread through the venue. Aidan ran behind me, crying and screaming. The venue descended into pandemonium. Women in luxury dresses screamed, men began making emergency calls on their phones. Guests stood up one after another. Some fainted. The flashes from NBC, CBS, and Fox cameramen eerily illuminated the panicked venue. By tomorrow morning, this tragedy would be reported in national news. Among it all, only Caroline was smiling. Her expression held an angelic serenity. It was beyond sanity. It became a perfect wedding. Now no one will forget me. Sis, I finally got attention. Her eyes no longer reflected reality. Michael stood dumbfounded, Linda was sobbing. As luxury hotel staff rushed about in confusion, the venue fell into complete chaos. I held Aidan tightly, crying at the smell of his burnt hair. My son's small body trembled with fear. The next morning, I was watching the news at home in La Jolla. The doctor at Scripps Mercy Hospital told me fortunately the burns weren't serious, but Aidan's emotional wounds wouldn't heal so easily. Yesterday, a shocking incident occurred at the lodge at Torrey Pines, one of San Diego's finest hotels. The screen showed footage of the panicked wedding venue. The Fox News anchor continued with a stern expression. Caroline Wilson, a star trader at Wells Fargo Securities, allegedly set fire to her 6-year-old nephew's hair. The million-dollar wedding with an IT company executive turned into a nightmare. According to witnesses, the suspect had been in an abnormally excited state until just before the incident, verbally abusing multiple staff members. Sitting on my luxury brand sofa, I was glued to the news. Messages of concern kept arriving on my smartphone from acquaintances in La Jolla's social circle. Parents of Aidan's classmates also sent words of encouragement. Then my cell phone started ringing. The screen showed an incoming call from Caroline. When I answered with trembling hands, her distraught voice rang out. "Did you see the TV? I would never do such a thing. Someone must be trying to frame me. It's a conspiracy by Wells Fargo's competitors." At that moment, new developments were being reported on TV. The screen switched to show Wells Fargo's compliance department head holding a press conference. "Our internal investigation has uncovered that suspect Wilson concealed approximately $50 million in losses. Suspicions of illegal trading and drug use have also emerged. Serious misconduct was found in trading records from the past 6 months. That's wrong. It can't be. I'm a perfect trader. I made $30 million in profits just last month." Caroline's voice cracked on the other end of the phone. Police voices could be heard in the background. Amidst the confusion, even more shocking news broke. Bloomberg News ran the headline, "Problem Trader Suspected of Illegal Drug Use." The screen showed surveillance camera footage of Caroline entering and leaving Wells Fargo Plaza. At that moment, they broadcast a scene of former fiancé Michael Stanford holding an emergency press conference. Dressed in a luxury suit, his expression was exhausted. His reputation as an executive at a Silicon Valley startup was also in crisis. "I am officially announcing the termination of my engagement to Caroline Wilson. She had shown signs of schizophrenia for about 6 months, and I should have noticed. Getting up suddenly at night to trade, claiming someone was after her." Camera flashes captured Michael's anguished expression at the press conference held at the Ritz-Carlton. Beside him, his mother Linda was crying. It has been discovered that all the wedding expenses were debt. She seems to have been mentally cornered by massive investment losses. Payments for the venue, dress, decorations, everything is in arrears. CNN and NBC also began reporting new facts. Caroline's verbal and physical abuse at work. Abuse of psychiatric medication prescriptions at multiple hospitals in the city. Default on luxury brand payments. And the existence of over $1 billion in debt. Her glamorous life had all been a castle in the air. "Sis, help me. Don't abandon me. We're family, aren't we? Without me, you'd still be a regular employee at an accounting firm. I'm the family's pride." Caroline's voice trembled like a lost child. However, her words still carried the same arrogance. On the other end of the phone, police officers' voices drew closer. "Ms. Wilson, please cooperate with voluntary questioning. The drug test results are in." Lies. All lies. "I'm successful. I'm living a perfect life. This white powder is just cold medicine." Her screams suddenly cut off. She must have been taken into police custody. I later learned that large amounts of cocaine were found in her home. That evening, Wells Fargo held an emergency press conference. As a NYSE-listed company, they needed to fulfill their accountability promptly. They announced Caroline's immediate dismissal, taking responsibility for the massive losses and illegal trading. In La Jolla's social circle, her existence was erased overnight. Her name disappeared from VIP lists at luxury restaurants, charity event invitations were cancelled. Leaving the TV on, I watched my son's sleeping face. The whiteness of Aiden's bandages squeezed my heart. His favorite teddy bear lay by his pillow. After the incident, he became afraid to sleep alone. The next day's Wall Street Journal gave prominent coverage to this incident. The front page featured a large photo of the chaos at the wedding venue. The article pointed out the darkness lurking in today's financial industry. Excessive competitiveness, drug dependence, and the precariousness of superficial success. 24-hour trading, constant demand for results, young traders crushed by pressure. The San Diego Union-Tribune reported the incident from a more locally focused perspective. "Why are you doing this to me? We're family, aren't you? You've benefited from my success." Caroline kept calling from detention. However, my resolve was firm. My son's safety had to be the top priority. You are no longer my sister. Stay away from Aiden. My hand trembled as I hung up the phone. Our family's life would never return to what it was. Everything was just beginning. 1 year later, in a quiet residential area of Santa Barbara, 200 miles from San Diego. In our new city, we were gradually regaining our daily life. Aiden had transferred to a local elementary school and was making new friends. Mom, look. I got 100 on my math test. Aiden runs up to me with a beaming smile after returning from his weekly counseling. The burn marks have completely disappeared, and his black hair shines like before. I continued remote work at the accounting firm while watching over my son's recovery. The events in La Jolla seemed like a distant nightmare. Meanwhile, Caroline was confined to a state psychiatric hospital. Diagnosed with both schizophrenia and drug addiction, she was committed to mandatory hospitalization. When I visited, her appearance had completely changed. Sis. I've lost everything. Her luxury brand suits had been replaced with hospital-issued white gowns, her once perfect hairstyle now disheveled. Still, her eyes no longer held their previous madness. But I've learned a lot here. The nurses have taught me my true worth. Caroline had begun working toward a nursing qualification. She had also started a debt repayment plan, taking small steps toward rehabilitation. The fraudulent trading incident at Wells Fargo sent ripples through the financial industry. The 24-hour trading system was reviewed, and mental health care became mandatory for traders. Michael had begun a new life in Silicon Valley. He occasionally sends emails checking on Aiden's condition. He says he's applying the lessons learned from the broken engagement to reform his company's corporate culture. La Jolla's social circle had already moved on to new scandals. However, our incident is occasionally still covered by the media as the Mad Bride story. Every Sunday, I take Aiden to the local farmer's market. We choose fresh vegetables and buy bread from the local bakery. We cherish these simple daily pleasures. Hey Mom, will Auntie get better? I quietly nod at Aiden's innocent question. Letters arrive from Caroline almost weekly. The content, which initially was full of self-justification and blame, gradually changed to words of reflection and apology. I cannot forgive her. But I can pray for my sister's recovery. Everyone heals in their own way. In the gentle Santa Barbara twilight, we had begun walking a new path in life. Though deep scars remained, we had definitely gained the strength to overcome them and move forward. Recent photos of Aiden are regularly sent to Caroline in the hospital. She reportedly pins these photos to her hospital room wall, using them as motivation for her daily rehabilitation. Dear sister, I regret what happened that day every single day. Aiden's screams still ring in my ears. But in this hospital, for the first time, I've been able to face my true self. Hoping for the day you can forgive me. From your sister. That was written in her latest letter. Outside the window, the Santa Barbara sea quietly gleamed. It felt like the sign of a new dawn.